Alright, so we were checking out a diamond main tank, and one thing that this diamond tank actually said was that they know a lot of the techs, but that's not really what they want help with, because I'm not sure why. But I'm actually glad that you mentioned that because techs are great, and especially on like heroes like Mercy sometimes, and like heroes like Winston, they can help you get away or get like one pick. But realistically, techs are not going to be the reason that you won or lost a game, or that you're diamond or grandmaster. And sometimes they just get a little bit too much weight put into them versus some of the other stuff. They start to become really important when they're what's preventing you from climbing, but if you're diamond, techs are not what's preventing you from climbing. So let's take a look at this kind of, see what's going on, and see if we can't help.
I'm flame striking.
So they're rotating left. No, maybe not.
Hold near.
Good
flank, good flank.
Doofus him back.
Zarya no friendly, Zarya no friendly.
Widow top right, Widow
Yo,
top
I need
right.
heals, I need heals.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
that's what you're doing.
So your whole team got really messed up here from really the dive that happened to you guys. And so the way that you could have kind of helped avoid that is backing up a little bit more. Think about where you're holding right here. You don't need to be holding right there because you're actually a little bit far from cover, and then as your team kind of learns, a little bit far from your healers. Literally just playing in the same spot but 2-3 steps back, and you'd be having a little bit of a better time. Can't promise it would have stopped everything, but
I'm flame striking.
So they're rotating left. No, maybe not.
Hold near.
Good
flank, good flank.
Doofus him back.
Zarya no friendly, Zarya no friendly.
Widow top right, Widow
Yo,
top
I need
right.
heals, I need heals.
definitely the way to fix that would be you playing a little bit further back, and then in comms asking your healers to separate, play in a little bit of a different spot. One take high ground, one take low, something like that is what the best thing to fix that would have been. Okay.
Ryan's pushing forward. Can we get the shrine? Can we get the shrine?
Doofus up top with my cooldowns.
So good call on getting the Rhine, but then after that, you almost screw half of the advantage that you have. And I'm going to be going kind of in detail here. I don't want to come across like too hard on you, but I'm going to be pointing out kind of what you're doing wrong and how to do it better. So you kill the Rhine, but then you stand out in the open here shielding essentially nothing, while just nothing. You're not shielding anything. Your team is still back here following up on the Rhine kill. So your shield ends up quite down, which then stops you from pushing as soon as you need and nullifies a lot of the advantage that your team gets from having a Rhine. So awesome. You turn around, let your team clean up the Rhine here. That's fine. You know he doesn't have charge. He's not going to charge you away. But now we're burning our shield for no reason. There's no one who can shoot behind our shield. They're not quite close enough yet. They haven't pushed up. And now we have to kind of let our shield go up. And we can't push on our enemies while they don't have a Rhine, which would be like one of the #1 advantages.
I'm with you. Doomfist is Discord.
You called that you're pushing forward, which is good, but make sure your team is truly with you.
Watch
Tracer
Tracer
behind.
flank, watch Tracer flank.
Some of that shield management is coming back to bite us right here, because now our shield's literally broken. Had to focus on that shield management a little bit more, which includes like shield when you were shielding nothing, when you were pushing up and there was no one quite there yet, because you would have had a better time and your team would have had a better time if you had had a full shield there or close to a full shield.
They don't have Widow anymore, so.
I'm looking for next flame strike to throw shatter.
I'm gonna try to keep orb on Farah as much as I
Push
can.
this, push
I
this.
trust-
They have solos and heals. He's inside.
Think about what's going on here.
I'm looking for next.
Here's a Rhine. Ana is getting, their enemy Ana is getting bullied by your Pharah. And so is the Zarya right now. And you're getting swung on by a Rhine. That's ridiculous. Drop your shield and swing on the Rhine back, because there is nothing else that's hurting you. There's nothing from the back that you are shielding. Your shield could be going up right now this whole time, and you could be swinging.
Orb on Farah.
Like, Okay, cool. You blocked a Zarya right click.
Push this, push
One
this.
Zarya right click. That's all. So your shield is down 800 right now. And that Ryan didn't die as fast as he should have, which might have been what led your Ana to use her nano.
You guys
When,
have no heals.
for no
If
reason.
you could maybe turn around and like actually heal me when the tracer's coming from me, that'd be amazing.
We might just need to switch off of Zen for Brig or something, dude. We would lose defensive ult too. Yeah, I do like Zarya or D.Va too, not gonna lie.
Yeah, I can brig.
Oh, okay. Okay, we're basically goats. Let's just go goats. I need so many peels, it's not even funny. I should have died.
Yeah, so yeah, you called it. You said exactly what I was gonna say. You needed to either commit to running away, like stop turning around to shield those Zarya bullets and just charge away, or sorry, tracer bullets and just run away, or you needed to go ahead and just push forward and die on the payload real quick.
I mean, if she sits on top of her
Your
arm,
half and a half where you didn't go forward but you didn't go back is what got you killed there.
they have shatter and like they're at like 80. Can we get the shrine? Ryan's on the right here.
Doomfist is coming around back.
Do I have heals? Hello? Thank you.
I've got orb on you.
Yeah, we
Get
got.
this low in the back.
Okay, move forward, move forward.
Okay. Jeez, I just don't
No,
know.
I was talking to our Zen.
Okay. Kree could pop off. Wait, pop off. We have shatter, but so do they. I gotta block theirs.
They've still got a grab as well.
They have Macrina, no more Doom.
It's a good call, and I'm glad your team is talking about the ults they have too, because you're thinking of your counterpart and what you need to do.
Oh, they
If you
let me
don't
do
know how to
free
alt
shatter,
track,
they
it's
free
like
shatter.
always easy to start with your exact
Oh,
counterpart,
shit, boys. That's my bad.
and
Back up.
then
We're
the
gonna
rest of
shatter.
your team is kind of looking at
Yeah.
some of their other alts like
Good.
grab and
Keep
stuff.
backing up, keep backing
Nice.
up.
We can get back in on this pretty quickly. Coming back. Nice, huge.
Nice fix. That Ryan's super
Nice.
low.
So we heard him touchdown,
We're gonna queue
so
him.
no
Freeze
shatter
right
here,
side.
but still
Hey,
grav. Pulse bomb might be off cooldown. Nano would be one of my big concerns here. And so you want to make sure that you're playing careful and still calling that out to your team, kind of while we're on the conversation of alts. Because your whole team being grouped up on this corner right here is an excellent way for you guys to get
Tracer right
grabbed.
side.
Oh, they fucking. I'm so bad.
Tracer no recall.
Good job. Actually getting carried right now.
I'm gonna
A
keep
little
the-
bit. You're definitely feeding a little bit,
Finish
and you're
this.
definitely being carried a little bit. And most of the reason why is because your shield management has kind of sucked.
Yep. I have rally
And so
points.
you haven't even been able to be a good shield rectangle blocking everything for your team
They're triple tanking as well.
because you haven't had
Okay.
very good shield management. And unfortunately,
Alright, I'm gonna stay more in the front line now then.
like, what are you shielding here?
I don't know.
Fine.
Sleep.
Even your shield's down 200, 300 almost, and you've shielded nothing so far. Shield's half, and you've barely shielded
Ryan's
anything that
purple.
matters.
Go aggro, go aggro.
And shield's a fourth,
They nano
and
Ryan.
I would say less than half of your shield actually needed to be
I
used
need
there.
those behind you, Anna.
And on that same shield note, because this is the second time now, first time is whatever, but it's second time is you gotta start worrying about, is it a pattern? Please don't ever let your shield break. Stop shielding at like 40, 50,
I can translate
whatever.
that, just
It
don't
can
die,
be
don't die.
plenty to block a Rhine Shatter, to block a Diva Bomb by just throwing it up at last second. But if it's fully broke, you don't even have the option to bring it back up.
I'm purple, dude. Holy shit.
Yep. So definitely got to work on some
Sorry, we weren't even
shield management,
like that.
and definitely got to work on some. I mean, that's your biggest one.
Dude, what is your main name?
At the end, I'll probably tell you some more to work on, but your shield management was not solid there, and so that's what's holding you back the most right there.
I don't love the monkey play they're running. Ryan's
I just have. Never mind. Doesn't matter.
They have a Ash as well. Their Ash is on Boathouse. I've taken so much damage.
I'm not LOS.
I got you. Fuck me, dude.
Ash is
Going in
Gotta
the
think
back.
about your comp. Think about your
Can we
healers.
dive with
So
Zen?
you've got Zen and you've got Ana. So you
He's on
need
point.
to make sure that you're playing where they can see you, or you're gonna have the orb on you or something, or you're gonna get screwed when you dive. And like there, like you took so much poke, which almost again relates to shield management, that you couldn't go in exactly when you needed to, and you guys had to kind of wait.
Get Zarya.
He's low. Zarya's really low.
I have to reload.
So why do you bubble there? Like what did you bubble?
Backing out.
You bubbled
No,
nothing
W,
is the
W,
answer.
W, now go, fight.
I'm on Zen. Right, they're so low, dude.
Right,
They're so
Tracer,
All in that
Tracer.
corner.
It seemed like you knew that you should have backed out or at least slowed down, and yet you listened to your team. You are allowed to have a brain too and make decisions too, and I would not have gone in there. You didn't have any sort of heals. You didn't have anything to back you up,
Back up, Beaver, too.
and they were sitting right on top of each other, so you weren't gonna get the kills.
We just group for one, bro. Just go back.
Doomfist is top right.
Tell me if you see personal or friendly bubble. God damn it.
Why is our...
The difficult part about playing ball here now
You guys just...
is you need to make sure that you're displacing the Rhine so that they can't ever stay fully grouped in any sort of like death ball formation whenever your team goes in, because otherwise you guys are gonna get screwed here. You guys don't have the dive DPS that you need to do a very coordinated dive,
And your entire team is
Why
still
are
a
we
choke.
not going in together?
and then you guys don't even have like a Winston bubble or anything that you guys can walk in behind. And so if you're gonna play ball here, that's fine, but you have to play in a very specific way where you're really putting pressure on them at all times, not just sitting around.
Jesus Christ, dude. We have so many fucking ults. Do we have bomb?
Go, everybody
Diva,
go right
Diva,
side.
Okay, I'm gonna nano.
No, Diva, just throw your bomb.
Rampart.
Throw your bomb behind Ryan Shield, and I can slam. Okay. 3, 2.
Doomfist and Tracer
slamming.
top right.
You landed it on top of his shield.
I think you kind of had to know where the Rhine was to do that too. You didn't, I mean, the way you were swinging, there's no way you could have known exactly where the Rhine was and gone for him. Usually if you're gonna do plays like that, you need to know exactly where the Rhine is, or you need to be coming from behind or something so you can boop the Rhine.
Zarya low.
It's a very kind of high level play that would usually need to be coordinated.
Nice, Diva. Go Ryan, go Ryan. Finish Ryan, finish Ryan.
There's a Doom in the back.
Slamming Doom. Doom is so low.
Send.
I have no
Go
help.
shield,
I'm
go
dead, I'm
shield.
dead, I'm
Throw,
dead.
press your E.
Go Ryan, go Ryan. Finish Ryan, finish Ryan.
There's a Doom in the
From
back.
here on, you could have
Let me
pressed
do.
your E.
Doom is so low.
Send.
I have no
At
help.
any
I'm dead, I'm
time.
dead, I'm dead.
You're alone, Diva.
Huge Diva.
That was a big play.
Should we go in?
Yeah, we should regroup as soon as we can.
I mean, we're here. We can fight this 5v6.
Wait, no,
go,
wait
let's
2
go.
seconds.
You could have told your team that literally
Go
no
now.
one was
Then
alive.
we're all in choke together. You guys are all split.
Dude, they will solo.
Right, Discord. Doom Discord, Doom Discord.
Tracer's on me and back. I need
Get
heals
on
on
the
point.
point. Get
It's unfortunate you didn't commit to that Zen. You easily could have killed him.
Tracer 1. Tracer no recall.
She's literally one.
I need heals behind you, Anna, really bad.
They don't have
One
shatters. Do
next
they
to
have
you.
grab?
Thank you.
No.
No, don't sit
Doom
on,
fist,
don't
doom
sit on,
fist.
don't sit on.
Stay on point. Stay on.
Zarya 1. Doom low, Doom low, Doom low, Doom free,
Doom
Doom free,
low,
Doom
Doom
is free,
low.
Doom is free.
Got
Don't
him.
sit on, don't sit on, don't sit on. Go Ryan.
Instead of saying don't C9, you need to call someone to actually stay on the point.
How'd you boop?
Because otherwise everyone thinks that other people are going to stay on the point, and then no one does. And that's something even like high level teams struggle with. Like they need to appoint someone specific to stay on the cart, or someone specific has to call out that they're going to touch or whatever. But you cannot just say don't C9,
Free one.
because that's not going to make people, you know, not C9.
Hey,
dive on it
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
See if
Kill
I'm
this Zarya. Zarya is right in front of me, guys.
On you sleep. Dive on it. Dive on it.
And no sleep.
I can dive in too. I can
Lucio
dive
up
in too.
top.
Group now.
I'm coming.
Doom can die. Ah.
Speed boost. Switch to speed boost.
So Doom Meteor
Team,
striked
what
and
team
you
is
all
Phoebus?
grouped up.
Okay.
Monkey.
Monkey's low.
I'm sleep. On no sleep. On no sleep. Dude, she's free. She's in the middle of everything.
Why are we?
Doom top.
And I mean, Diva has no mech.
Think about kind of what you've done for this last 30-ish seconds. You've just been kind of rolling around the fight, and so you haven't really been tanking and creating space for your team. You weren't like picking the back line.
Got almost 5 volts.
This is one of the issues that Hammonds run into sometimes, and some of the reasons that people really don't like
Speed
Hammond
boost, pop up.
sometimes. Because even if you're Rhine,
McCree's
and you're
around
being
the
a
corner.
useless Rhine,
We have mine.
you're at least in theory shielding
Yeah,
something.
hold on.
If you're Hammond and you're being a useless Hammond, you're just rolling around.
Nice.
Like you're just existing. And you'll never climb, and you'll never get the kills you need by
And
existing.
there's two on the stairs.
She used nade. She used nade. No other Qs. No other Qs.
Come here, Hammond.
Where, bro?
I need big heals. I need big heals on point.
I got you, got you.
Focus those freaking Winston. DB
I'm
got it.
fucked.
You guys
Kill
are down two.
Doomfist. Kill Doomfist first.
Full on point.
But the guy who's gonna kill your team, not the guy stalling.
Push.
Nice.
Anna's still here. Push. Follow ball.
You guys are down two. We got late spawn.
You made the right call. Unfortunately, it's not exactly
I'm gonna go
working.
big, actually.
But you did make the right call. If you saw someone there you go. You guys got the honor right at the end. That was good. Big stagger on it, and you made the right call. You called it.
He's super low.
Doom's around the corner.
What are you doing there besides feeding ults? You're not creating the space your team needs. You have your ult, so you're not getting ult charge.
I'm working on it.
Really got to think about what you're
Monkey's
doing
low,
on
he's
ball.
purple. Monkey
I'm
one.
staying on
Monkey
payload.
one.
You guys can push forward if you want.
Monkey down. Diva.
Soldier left side alone.
Hey,
Soldier
Diva.
left side, yeah. Hey, kill soldier.
Kind of a general rule that's given to Hammonds that might be struggling with their ult. Not saying you are, just mentioning it. Is that you should never ever ult unless you slam too. Because it's a really simple rule that in theory is going to put you where you're slamming your enemies. It's going to put you in the air when you drop your ult, so it spreads out more. And the reason I'm mentioning this is because it was a little bit of a wasted ult.
Fuck, game.
Definitely unfortunate.
Alright,
On.
I'm gonna get back and try to queue. Can you?
Well, I got small.
I got.
Yeah, super unlucky. Your Ryan problems and your Hammond problems are way different. Some of them are both rooted kind of in positioning, but your Ryan problem is that you are really struggling to manage your shield the way that you need to, especially like when both teams are running like a pseudo goats kind of comp where they do have triple tank, maybe triple support. You gotta be managing that shield because it becomes a very real shield war, because just ducking behind a corner doesn't really save you in goats v goats because they're just going to cross that corner and kill you. On Hammond, your problems are different. You need to make sure that you're always getting value, and you need to make sure that you're actually tanking for your team. You're not just being a dive DPS, essentially, a dive DPS tank. You need to make sure that you're displacing the Rhine, that they're struggling to stay together, that they feel booped 24/7, that they feel slammed 24/7, that you boop them, and then your Diva micro missiles the Rhine, and it's how did our Rhine just die when he has full shield, but little do they know he was getting thrown all around. But like if you were going to break it down, the easiest way for you to climb would be to look at your Rhine and say, does their Rhine have more shield than me? And if he does, you're playing wrong, because that's your biggest issue on Rhine right now. and change how you're playing. Play closer to corners, set your shield down more. When there's nothing coming and that's important, stop shielding. Make sure you're swinging. Make sure you're using some of your armor to block the damage when your enemies are like super far away instead of just your shield. And on your Hammond, make sure that you're not just leaving your team and you really are being a tank for them. And you'll definitely start climbing on both of those and continue climbing on both of those because you have some good stuff, you have some techs, you have some nice slams, you have some decent alts, but there's some serious issues handicapping you on both heroes right now. It's not just minor stuff that you need to work on, it's big stuff too.